All right, everyone. Welcome back to Simply On Chain. Ever since the Trump team launched their meme coin, the price of Solana has gotten absolutely decimated. So I figured today we can do a quick pulse check and see if people are even still using the chain. And if they are, if it is currently a buy, and even more importantly, when to buy. Here, I've got a chart of the number of transactions happening on Solana plotted in purple against the price, which is in white. The number of daily transactions peaked in late January, a few days after the Trump team launched their meme coin, at about 76 million transactions a day. You can clearly see that we've been in a downtrend since. And as of this past Friday, we hit a daily number of transactions of 54 million, which is about a 30% drop from the peak. Although this may seem significant, 54 million daily transactions is pretty close to the number that we've seen during peak euphoria in 2021. This means that Solana is certainly not dead, and we can go onto CoinMarketCap and see something very similar. I've got this filter to show memes on Solana. Now, look at some of the 24-hour trading volume on some of these coins. Just the Trump one alone is trading at 440 million in daily volume. The 7-day return on a bunch of these coins are also in the green, which is all very healthy for Solana. Now, going back to the Solana chart, I just want to comment on how closely correlated the number of transactions are with the price. Directionally, they are almost always going the same way. So, if you are trying to determine if the price of Solana is going to go up or down, you could always ask yourself, are the number of use cases going up or down? The higher number of use cases, the more potential transactions. The more potential transactions, the higher the price of Solana. All right, now let's talk about when are the best times to be buying and selling Solana. Here, I've got a chart of the net realized profit and loss for Sol. This is calculated by taking the total number of profits for the day and the total number of losses for the day and subtracting them. If the number of profits are greater than the losses, then it's going to be green for the day. And if the number of losses are greater than the profits, then it'll be red for the day. The power of this chart is in its ability to provide top and bottom signals. Look at how every single local or cycle peak corresponds with a huge spike in realized profits. The threshold for me to sell is when realized profits reach 1 billion. If you had followed that rule, you would have sold here in September 2021 and then also here in November 2021, which ended up being the exact cycle peak. You would have also sold here in March of last year when price was almost $200. You would have also sold here in November when price was at 250. And you would have also sold here in January. This was right after the Trump meme coin, where price hit 260. I think it actually wicked higher to 280, 290. But it closed the day at 260. I was actually fortunate enough to sell on that day before prices went tumbling down to 105. So why does this method work so well? Well, intuitively, it actually makes a lot of sense because if a bunch of people are taking profits, this means that there is more supply being dumped onto the market. And if there isn't enough demand to meet that supply, then naturally the price will go down. On the flip side, buying on days where there are a lot of realized losses are generally really great entries. So is now a good time to buy? Well, one of the best times to buy was actually last week when net realized loss hit 470 million on the day and price fell to $105. Right now, realized profits are in the green and more specifically at 90 mil as of this past Saturday. So if you can wait until we have realized losses, then that would be a more ideal time to buy. But if you can't wait, at least we're not at a local top because realized profits are nowhere near 1 billion right now. This was my first on-chain video about Solana. If you'd like to see other metrics such as Solana hodl waves, Nupal, or MVRV, comment down below so I know that you guys like the content and I can create more of it. If you do want updates on the charts and metrics that we talked about today, make sure to hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.